Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by our friends at Fangoria magazine. That's right, the first name in fright since 1979 is now an affiliate of America's Hometown Horror. And because of that, we can now offer you an exclusive 20% discount on any first-time magazine subscription or merchandise purchase by heading over to shop.fangoria.com and using the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout. That's shop.fangoria.com/HometownHorrorPod, or just use the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout for that exclusive discount on anything from Fangoria. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is also brought to you by our friends at Horror Facts Magazine. Never heard of Horror Facts Magazine? Well, if you're a horror fan, they're a name that you absolutely should know. You can find them over at horrorfacts.com, and they're a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and lots of other horror podcasts, not only limited to, but including America's Hometown Horror. So head on over to horrorfacts.com and check them out. Now, let's get on with the show. Alrighty then, hello, good evening, and welcome back into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks so much for checking back in with us. My name is Mike, and I'll be one of your hosts this evening as we venture down the Canadian body horror realm, courtesy of an Andrew pick. But first and foremost, here's where you can find our show online. If you're interested, the first place is our website, ahpod.com. That's AHHPOD.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and X. Or Twitter, X and Instagram, I should say. Twitter is now X. Just search for America's Hometown Horror. You'll find us. You can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com, and you can leave us a voicemail at 508-927-1267. That's 508-927-1267. But, of course, the most important thing you can do for our show is to give us a like or a subscribe and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star review if you think we do a 5-star job. Helps us get out there to more horror fans just like yourself, dear listener. I did see a couple more reviews come in over this past week, so thank you very much for listening to us and giving us those reviews. Last and certainly not least, thanks as always to our friend Shaun O'Loughlin from Skywheel Media, who's now handling all of our audio and music production. And if you have a podcast that you're looking to take to the next level in terms of audio production, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with Shaun and Skywheel Media. All right, now that I get that out of the way, why don't we jump right in and introduce my fellow co-host this evening. It's the usual gang, guys. Ain't nothing new here going on tonight. Right here in studio, beside me and across from me, are Andrew and Matthew. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Hey. What's up, ladies and gentle beans?
Guys, good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Good to be seen. Good to talk some horror. I am excited about this one tonight. I think this should be an interesting conversation.
This is a great rewatch for me.
Yeah.
Me too, for different reasons.
I also thought that I think the first time I saw this movie, Andrew, me, you, and Kat were pretty drunk.
I was like, I gotta watch this movie. It was great. And I was
pretty confusing
on the couch.
Yeah,
you can't watch it drunk.
I think I had no fucking clue what was going on until I rewatched it, and I was like, oh, I remember all of these parts, but now I understand more fully.
Oh, so that was the only time you had seen it?
Yes, that was the only time, and I kind of don't really remember it. Yeah, absolutely smashed. Probably played shuffleboard in the basement for like 3 hours, and Andrew's like, let's throw on this movie. It's like, yeah.
Let's throw on this movie that is not meant to be on.
Hour and 40-minute psychological sci-fi
put on
horror movie.
This ethereal sci-fi horror mind.
We were either putting that on, or I was going to be like, we're putting this on, or Fortitude.
Eventually, Fortitude will get in here some way, some shape or form. All right, guys, it's another week, and that means there's more horror stuff that's available at home to stream. And at home, we have a couple of new arrivals. The first being The First Omen, which have either of you seen that yet?
No, I think it just came out today.
Yeah, it just came out. So it's available now if you're listening to this episode. So The First Omen got pretty good reviews, did well at the box office, so you can check that out at home now. Another one that's available at home now that that did not get such great reviews, I should say, but I have heard actually interesting things about is that movie Tarot. I know Elric from Colors of the Dark was a big fan of this movie.
Tarot?
No, like tarot cards, but I think it's like...
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, so...
Carrot cards.
Carrot cards. Yeah, but I think this is basically a monster movie where all the monsters on the tarot cards come to life and kill people, so... Sounds like a popcorn beer watch. Anyway, and then... in theaters now, hopefully at your local theater that you might be able to check out. I know Andrew was very much looking forward to seeing this movie, and I asked,
Well, you got sick.
Yeah.
are you still going to try to see In a Violent Nature in theaters?
Oh yeah, it might be by myself though, because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to muster anybody unless anyone here can possibly get out and see it. 'Cause it's not like a movie.
Well,
We'll see.
Any of my
We'll see
friends
what's up
are
this
like,
weekend.
I would love to.
Maybe Saturday night. I might be able to. But
yeah, let me know. Worst case, I'll probably go Sunday matinee with like 7 people in the entire theater. Just
Nice.
you'd be surprised, dude. I feel like there's a lot of people that are going to be going. A lot of
like a
this is
Sunday
getting some
afternoon
serious
though in
good
the
buzz.
summer. Maybe
know.
a Kingston collection, maybe.
I'll be at
For,
Hops and Hots Fest. Fucking
Is
a bunch of people eat hot wings.
oh, that's right. It's Speedwell this weekend.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Is
Are
In
you
a Violent Nature?
participating?
No. Have you ever done it before?
Mhm.
Yeah. Is it,
I usually eat a wing every year
Do you have to
afterwards.
sign up like in advance?
Yeah, you can sign up the day of.
Oh, because I wonder if Craig knows, because he loves doing those. He loves hot wings.
Not that hot,
Are they really hot?
dude. They're fucking miserable.
nuclear.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Craig eats miserably hot things all the time.
I'm not
gonna
gonna eat one this week after how sick I was on fucking
Yeah.
Monday night and
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah. You need to tread lightly on that.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck my stomach up.
Well, is In a Violent Nature? Is that A24 or is it Neon?
No, I don't think it's
Just
either.
Neither. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like.
I
one of
think
those
it
movies.
might be IFC Midnight.
Yes.
Okay.
I think, I
Maybe.
think
Yep,
that,
that makes
that
sense. Yeah.
sounds
Another low key, very good.
Banger.
Studio,
Like they make
yeah.
really they
Yeah.
had a hand in Late Night with the Devil, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. And then this
along
we're
with the
talking
other
about is
37
Neon too.
studios.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
The Family Guy bit.
also, yeah, right.
That was so funny. I forgot about that.
Little inside baseball. Kat, who was on the show full time before and is now going to be joining us sparingly in future episodes. It is her birthday weekend this weekend, and her birthday actually falls on a Saturday. And if any of you listening know Kat personally, you know that Kat celebrates her birthday pretty much for the entire summer. So I don't think there's any way that I'm going to be able to sneak out to go see In a Violent Nature.
Oh,
I forgot
Saturday.
about-
I forgot
about
that's
that,
it.
yeah.
You have that cookout going on,
Mhm.
so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm taking her out to dinner tomorrow night with a bunch of people for the going out portion of her birthday weekend, and then I'm hosting a cookout here at our house on Saturday for a bunch of people on her actual birthday, and then Sunday she's talking about wanting to go to brunch at Dylan's, and I'm like, dude, this is a fucking crazy weekend.
Dude.
I'm like, I didn't even know if I wanted to drink
Start
during this
hydrating.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know if I wanted to drink during this podcast tonight because I knew it was going to be a very boozy weekend, as is usually the case with Kat's birthday celebrations, shenanigans. But anyway, I digress.
Because this is one of those movies I think would be cool to see and then podcast about.
Oh
like,
yeah.
right out, like not right after.
It's
but
coming to
like,
Shudder like
Is it gonna be
very
quick?
soon,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's not gonna
So
be.
I for the first time today got a look at what the front of the mask actually looks like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Really cool.
it's like it reminds me of like one of the like scuba suits
Yeah.
from like Scooby Doo.
yes.
Or like
You know what I mean?
20,000 Leagues Under the
Yeah,
Sea with
like an
yeah.
old school
Yeah,
scuba.
it's kind of
mask.
sick.
Yeah.
I know I'm one of the only dorks that still plays video games, but I'm a big fan of the BioShock video games, and there are boss characters in those games called Big Daddies, which are in the big old school like 40s and 50s style diving suits, and the front of the mask actually kind of looks like that a little bit. It's kind of what I thought of. So
It is cool.
it's an interesting design, and the movie is supposed to be brutal with a capital B.
Yeah, that's what I've heard
I
too.
can't wait.
I don't want to like. I've been trying to avoid trailers.
Yeah, I only saw the
Yeah.
first trailer, I think, and it's very innocuous.
I don't think I watched a single trailer at all. But I've always known. I've just
Like, that's the
keep
right word.
seeing the updates and like kind of for some reason I just like I know what this is. I'm like I never remember seeing anything specific that was very like giving, but I'm like, oh yeah, I've known this is coming out for a while.
I have it seems like it's one of those movies. If you were to follow like Jason Voorhees, like
Which I've been crushing
from
Friday the 13th
behind
movies.
the entire movie in one single shot. I feel like that's what this
See, I
movie's
was
gonna be.
getting extremely like Zodiac vibes, like from like when you see it from like behind, when it's from behind.
That's also a good
kind of
call.
creeping up. I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like
Like
we
the
should
lake
do that.
scene.
You want to know what I watched Tuesday while I was just fucking rotting away in bed? Night of the Living Dead,
Nice,
Creep Show,
nice.
Friday the 13th Part 2,
Ooh,
Friday the 13th Part 3,
whoa!
Friday the 13th Part 4,
Holy
Friday
fuck!
the 13th Part 5.
Go on.
So like
that's
the
it.
whole day.
Dude, yeah.
I was wondering if you had a stomach butter or if you had
I did. I was
too many glizzies.
No, because we had a pretty low key like weekend.
No, nice.
But yeah, no, I woke up and dude, yeah, I had some sort of bug and I had a fever and everything. I was a mess.
I had a low key weekend too.
Bummer.
I fucking broke my ankle like a
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You got
like a
it.
crazy person. All right, so that's In a Violent Nature. Hopefully, you listeners see it in theaters and report back. Let us know what you think of it, if it's any good, and yeah, let us know. Anyway, on to the news we go before we get into tonight's movie. Guys, I know this is a movie that probably holds varying degrees of reverence for all of us. Have you seen the trailer for or any of the still images from Beetlejuice that dropped
I keep
last week?
seeing that Danny DeVito's in it.
He is. He's in one split-second shot from the trailer that it's like blink and you'll miss it. But, you know, some of the trailer sleuths out there took screenshots. You can see him. So we got, dude, the cast is pretty stacked.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm going to be
I think that
completely
looks cool.
honest. I'm not even sure if I've actually seen the original Beetlejuice.
You never seen Beetlejuice?
I either, if I've seen it, it was so long ago I don't even remember it, except for just like the basic.
I remember when I was a little kid, my mom let me watch that. It was like in the first time I watched it, we rented it and came home and she put it on and she was so mad because there's that scene where Michael Keaton like first kind of shows up and like he like yells at Alec Baldwin and he's like, nice fucking model.
Nice
and,
fucking
like,
model.
honks his
Yeah,
dick.
yeah. Awesome.
And my mom was like, this movie's rated PG. Like,
Right?
like what is going on? She
All
was
the
so
PG
mad,
things.
dude.
Yeah. I mean, Beetlejuice is definitely a good movie. I'll be very
I love
interested.
Beetlejuice,
I'll be
I love
interested to see
Michael Keaton.
what they do with this. Michael Keaton coming back. I feel like he is now like the real life version of his character from the Birdman movie, where he's just now revisiting Batman and Beetlejuice and doing all of his old roles. But it looks cool. It looks like it's very practical effects driven. That's one thing that they definitely are talking about.
Claymation.
You know, I don't know about claymation, but it looks like it's not CGI. But you got Keaton and Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara returning, which is awesome. You have Jenna Ortega. You have Justin Theroux, Willem Dafoe, Danny DeVito. So
hell of a fucking ride for Willem Dafoe lately.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
I guess that Yorgos Lanthimos movie that came out.
Poor Things, yeah.
Well, there's that, but that he's got a new movie that's out right now doing the circuits called Kinds of Kindness or something like that.
Okay.
And I guess it's like unbelievable. I guess Jesse Plemons just like won Best Actor for Cannes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But Willem Dafoe's in it too.
I haven't even heard of that movie.
Oh, also, how could I forget? We have Monica Bellucci playing Beetlejuice's wife
that's
in
wild.
the afterlife.
I'm looking forward to that.
Ow! I chihuahua. So anyway, that's Beetlejuice. Coming out this year. We'll see how it goes.
It comes in near my birthday, I think.
Your birthday. Very nice. Well, I'm not gonna lie. That's the type of movie like based on nostalgia. I would really like to see that in theaters. I don't know if I'll be able to. We shall see. We have a very busy September and October coming up, so I don't know.
Sarah's worried it's going to be too scary. She's like, I feel like they're going to make it way too scary. I'm like, it'll be fine.
Even if it's scary, it's not scary. Like,
Yeah. All right, next topic. Little update for you here on Terrifier 3 from Damien Leone. Apparently, makeup effects legend Tom Savini will appear in a cameo in this sequel, which is pretty exciting. It's another movie that's coming out later this year. I believe it's coming out in October, but it is a Christmas set horror movie.
I'm so excited for that.
Dude, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. They've been teasing very much like how gross and gory this movie is, so I feel like it's only natural that you probably have the most famous visual and practical effects guy of all time cameo in this movie. I don't know if he actually worked on the practical effects or not, or if they're just paying an homage to him by having in the movie, but either way, I'm down with it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I assume he probably, I mean, he's probably not cheap to hire. They probably didn't. I mean, they probably could afford him though now at this point.
No, I don't think so. Tom Savini, also, by the way, one of the executive producers on Spooktacular, the movie, friends of the podcast. So,
from what I hear, he's a pretty fucking rad dude.
Seems awesome.
Yeah, I would love to have a conversation with him about, his work in the horror industry.
Art, yeah, he's
pretty cool.
Incredible artist.
Yeah,
it's very cool. His sculptures and everything. It's and like the masks and all of it. He's the fucking
Just the
he's
cat's
a real deal,
pajamas.
dude.
Just the cat's meow. Guys, more excited for Terrifier 3 or Maxine? Andrew?
Terrifier 3.
Yeah, Terrifier 3.
Really?
That's close.
I might be more excited for Maxine based on the trailer that's out. I know we talked about it.
Yeah, that's going to be a banger, but Terrifier 3 just does something.
Yeah, those movies are. I think it's that
different.
if it wasn't a Christmas movie, I think I'd lean Maxine, but I do. There's something about Christmas slashers that
Especially
really
like
fucking
they're gonna.
get
This is
you
really
going,
gonna
dude.
ruin some people's fucking Christmases.
Probably.
Christmas.
There's probably gonna be a lot of people big time mad about.
Oh,
my
how
God,
dare you? This is a holiday.
Blasphemy.
God and Christ.
Andrew, next topic. Here's a piece of news for you and me, man.
It's fantastic.
And, Matt, I don't know if you've seen this movie. Let's see a little movie. I know, Andrew, you have. Came out in 2013, so 11 years ago. It's called Coherence. It's a sci-fi,
I saw that.
almost horror movie.
They're coming out with another one.
They are making
Or-
a sequel.
Oh, it is a sequel.
It is
Okay,
a
I didn't
sequel.
know if they actually
Sci-fi
had it.
movie Coherence is getting a sequel 10 years later, according to Bloody Disgusting.
Seeked up.
Deadline reports that James Ward Burkett and producer Kate Andrews are developing a feature follow-up to Coherence, with Burkett returning to write and direct. Plot details are being kept under lock and key, including whether the new film will be a prequel, sequel, or a different story entirely. All I can say is that movie fucking rocks,
Banger.
and I hope they don't fuck it up.
What
with
is
the
it
sequel.
called?
Coherence.
Coherence. Not as
Sci-fi?
It's more sci-fi than
Okay.
anything.
This would be a good double feature with like this movie we're talking about tonight. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well worth your watch. It's extremely well done, and that was like a low budget, right? I think.
Yeah, very much
info
so.
off the top of the head.
This would definitely be the opener for Possessor in the double feature at the drive-in, because it's not very violent, not very gory. It's just very strange, like very weird, very like Twilight Zone-ish
Okay.
Yeah.
with a horror twinge.
Undertone. Yeah,
Who directed it?
undertone.
The guy's name, I just said it. I forgot it
Oh, sorry.
already. James Ward Burkett.
Has he done anything else? 'Cause
I'm
I don't.
not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't sound.
I can
familiar.
find out. James Ward Burkett. Burkett spelled Byrkit. Is an American film director.
Backdoor
Let's see.
Sluts 9.
Apparently I don't know if he's directed. Yeah, Backdoor Sluts 9. That's one of them.
Oh, is that
Um,
an actual movie?
No,
That's
it's
just
a
South Park.
porno.
Oh,
Yeah, porn. Yeah, South Park porno.
Yeah. Oh, is that a real one? Am I an idiot? Oh, is that a real movie?
No, you're okay.
It's stupid.
Let's see his filmography.
I'm gonna tear it.
He wrote Rango, the Johnny Depp Gecko.
I love that movie.
Yeah, the one that's supposed to be like Hunter S. Thompson as a lizard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then he wrote and directed Coherence, and then he also was a co-producer on a movie called The Forest from 2016, which was written by Nick Antosca from Channel Zero.
Is that the like Suicide
I
Forest?
think so. With Matthew
that's the one.
McConaughey.
That's McConaughey's not in that. No.
Oh, I was thinking of the different one.
No.
No, he's in one like that. He's in a movie just like that, though.
I can't think.
It's like the forest of the hanging forest.
Yeah, that's the Suicide Forest.
Yeah,
in
with
Japan.
the one with Matthew McConaughey though. He's in a movie about that.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen
You're
that,
thinking
but
of
I'm
True
intrigued.
Detective season.
This is this is also the forest that one of the fucking idiot Paul brothers went and like live streamed, and they found a dead body hanging in the trees, and he like put it on a fucking video with like a Pokemon hat on, like a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
I
he's a
hate the two
dickhole.
of them. Yeah, he's
I hope
fucking
Mike Tyson kicks the
total
fucking
oh,
dog shit.
oh,
out of
that's
really
him.
hope
that's
that
the other
happens.
Paul, but they're both fucking chodes, and I can't stand them. Matt, by the way, here's a little plot description. So, in Coherence, a comet passes overhead during a dinner party among 8 friends, unleashing a strange chain of events. Bloody Disgusting reviewed it as, quote, a less is more cerebral sci-fi thriller. Coherence manipulates time to weave a mind-bending story that focuses on how the decisions we make define us.
All right, I can get down with that.
Very cool movie.
Okay.
You know what kind of reminds me of a little bit is that mainly just because it's a dinner party movie, that movie, The Invitation.
It very reminds
Yeah,
me a lot.
very much so.
reminds me of that.
Very reminds me.
So the movie I was thinking of, absolutely garbage movie. The Sea of Trees.
Oh.
It had him, Ken Watanabe, and Naomi Watts was in it, and it was about that. Suicide Forest.
Okay.
I've never even heard of that.
It's probably because it was terrible. 2015 it came out.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in some stinkers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Can't
before-
win them all, dude.
Before the reconnaissance, there was some dog shit
Some
out there.
poo?
There was
Yeah.
some.
This
there was
wasn't
some
even
shit.
that. This wasn't even that long ago.
I mean,
This was when this was 2015.
He had
Like,
already
in
done Dallas Buyers Club and
Interstellar.
He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
He got his
was just-
Oscar nomination. Now he's just like, I'm gonna go back to doing shit.
True Detective season 1 was like what 2000.
All of that was
Yeah.
in 2013.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
What a
What a
year.
great year for
What a
him.
year.
All right,
Good
next
guy.
topic. Apparently, James Wan is going to be producing a horror reboot of The Munsters titled 1313.
Didn't we already try this and it was
Yeah.
terrible?
Rob Zombie's movie, which
Yeah.
apparently I still haven't seen that. That kept the kitschy tone of the original TV series.
Yeah. I still haven't watched it either.
Brian
Forgot about
Fuller.
that, to be honest.
I know Brian Fuller, who directed the Hannibal TV series.
Oh.
He did a pilot for a show similar to Hannibal, but based on the monsters called Mockingbird Lane that didn't get picked up, but you can like watch the pilot online. A lot of people love that. Had like Eddie Izzard playing Grandpa and Jerry O'Connell's in it, Portia de Rossi, like a bunch of weird fucking people. So, I
like names out of a fucking hat.
Yeah.
Dude.
Portia de Rossi.
She at one point was married to Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know if she still is because Ellen DeGeneres is terrible.
I was thinking of Anne Heche, but she's dead. Wasn't she married?
Yeah, she smoked something with her car.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was bad.
She like jumped
and
up.
Anne Heche might have been in a relationship with DeGeneres too, but I couldn't.
No, she was definitely
like back in like 99, 98.
Yeah.
So the monsters, I guess, cool concept. James Wan, I like when he's doing his own things and not, doing, sequels to Insidious or The Conjuring or whatever other.
I love Malignant
thing. Yeah, Malignant was fucking awesome.
Buddy of mine just watched that for the first time, and I love when this happens when people text me and they're like, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
dude."
And they're like, "The movie's fucking crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, that movie is fucking crazy." So that movie really is fucking crazy.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
All right, last topic and potentially the biggest news item that we'll be talking about tonight on this podcast. And it's the kind of the talk of the horror world right now is that we've covered in past podcasts how David Gordon Green was let go from his responsibilities directing the second and third films of the new Exorcist trilogy for Blumhouse.
Can I interject real quick?
Go ahead.
I want to say David Gordon Green, he's a phenomenal comedy director.
Oh, yeah.
Eastbound and Down is fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh, that's right.
Vice
I always
Principals
forget he
is
did that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the Seth Rogen movie with the Stoner movie and him and James
Pineapple
Franco?
Express?
Pineapple Express. He directed that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought it was Evan Goldberg. But you might be. I think you're right. But he's a phenomenal comedy director. He has made some of the funniest comedy television arguably ever.
Probably one of my favorite.
Yeah. So I don't want David Gordon Green to get any shit on his name. He, you know what? He stepped out of his comfort zone. He tried to do something cool. He didn't make like quality-wise bad movies. He just didn't have any business going with in the direction he went.
Yeah, but also like he wasn't able to really try his own thing. You know what I mean?
That's where I was going to say too.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him take a shot at his own original movie.
Yeah.
But I just David Gordon Green doesn't deserve to get fucking called a total fucking loser asshole because he's not saying that at all. I'm not saying that you are, but people are.
I feel like I feel like it's got to be tough. You're putting this like corner almost where you're lose when you're remaking these types of movies.
Yeah, no, it's just never a fucking good idea, dude.
Just like, why are we doing it? Just why?
No matter what, it could be the best. Someone's gonna hate it.
Yeah. Well, David Gordon Green did direct Pineapple Express, by the way.
Okay.
And no shade on David Gordon Green. And I hate this piece of news because I have spoken at length about my respect and love for the work of Mike Flanagan, and he is the one that is going to be handed the keys to the Exorcist franchise. Now, on one hand, he could do something really interesting with it because he's a very interesting director. He's made good stuff. In the same sense, I'm sure you got a big paycheck for this, but dude, why not just keep doing your own fucking thing?
Well,
keep doing your own shit. Like, apparently, from what I see here, I think this came out either today or yesterday. It's all over the horror circuit. It's on Fangoria, Bloody Disgusting. It's supposed to be, quote, a radical new take on the Exorcist franchise, written and directed by Mike Flanagan.
Is this like a completely dismissing believer?
Let me see. I don't know if it is. Let's see. It's official. Flanagan is set to write, direct, and produce the next Exorcist film for Blumhouse and Universal. Don't expect a sequel to 2023's The Exorcist Believer. Flanagan will offer a, quote, radical new take on The Exorcist. So they're going to disregard that film?
Well, I never saw it.
Apparently.
So here's the thing about Exorcist Believer. If it wasn't The Exorcist,
you said that it was a fine movie.
Yeah, that's it. Like if it was its own movie, it's just another possession film, but it would have been fine.
Yeah,
as its own thing.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have to connect to all it did. They just brought back fucking what's her face.
Ellen.
Ellen Burstyn.
Yeah, Ellen Burstyn.
And just had her just fucking spew some bullshit, and then that was it, dude. It was just like
they fucking wheeled her out, and propped her up to do some lines.
They're like, "Oh, people will come
yeah,
see this
yeah.
movie if we throw this fucking
Just
mannequin."
pretending
in
that the only reason that she couldn't get anything done was because it was about men, and it's like, no, dude,
Yeah.
God, fucking damn it,
men
like,
do suck.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's
we
just
do.
like
we do suck. We do suck.
it was just the fucking that whole thing just fucking killed the whole movie. It's
I
just
know.
like, dude, like you could have just you shouldn't have had her in it at all.
Yeah.
So,
Why even make? I
yeah.
still don't understand why we're doing these movies.
Yeah.
Who are these for? Who are these for? Not
I
for
mean,
me.
I understand why people that run the studios want the name recognition, right? But I would much rather see Mike Flanagan write, direct, and produce his own idea for something that's possession related.
What I don't understand is why they want these types of movies. Haven't they learned their fucking lesson over the last, like, what,
No, Andrew,
10, 15 years?
They're never going to.
No.
And you know what else too? Because the shared universe thing and the legacy sequel thing is going to continue because that fucking Deadpool and Wolverine movie is going to make $8 fucking bazillion this summer. And watch it. I guarantee. And I'm going to be. I'm going to hand them my money for that movie because I want to see it.
Ryan
It looks
Reynolds
awesome.
and Hugh Jackman.
Awesome.
I
Huge
can
ass man.
understand
Excuse me.
that.
Yes.
But we don't need all of these.
Yes. So yeah, I don't know.
Jackson.
I'm kind of like. I'm interested, but I'm not. It's just I just get so disenchanted with some of this news sometimes because I'm like, I just like, dude, do something like
take a page out of my book. If it sucks, just fucking don't watch it again.
I know.
Just stick with the original.
Yeah.
I mean, he did do a great thing with Dr. Sleep. I fucking love that movie.
Honestly, dude, what he did with The Fall of the House of Usher is
Awesome.
enough to cement his writing creativity with source material for me. Like, I'm actually a little bit optimistic about what he could have in store for this.
It's not like he fucking.
So
fair.
Yeah.
I'm open to both sides of the argument, and I will fully admit that I was wrong if whatever new Exorcist movie he makes is great.
I'm going to see it no matter what.
And now I'll actually see it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big name, an interesting name, like a horror veteran.
You should just watch the other one.
I should just put it on. It's
There's
free
some-
on like Max. Or
there's
something.
That's what I'm
stuff.
saying. If
There's a
you
really cool
just
monster in there.
pretend
too,
it's
and,
not The Exorcist,
Okay.
and it's its own movie.
Just fast forward through.
Yeah.
Ellen Burstyn.
Just
Ellen Burstyn's fucking eyes being taped open.
yeah. Ignore Ellen Burstyn and the photos of Linda Blair in the movie, and you'll be fine. All right.
Works for me.
Cool. All right. That's what I got for news. Unless you guys have anything else, we good?
I do want to say real quick, we watched this documentary on HBO.
Yes.
Called Love Has Won. It's this cult documentary about this fucking maniac lady where they basically got this whole cult together. She lost her fucking shit, just basically drank herself to death. She was just a raging alcoholic, but convinced a bunch of people that she was God and channeled herself through like Robin Williams and like a bunch of random people. Dude, it's fucking insane to the point, but then she was counteracting her alcoholism with drinking colloidal silver. And it turns her blue.
What is that? Is that
it's just melted silver. Yeah.
What?
She didn't die from that?
Oh, sure did.
Okay. I was like, how long
dude,
is
honestly,
that?
it's 3 episodes, 3-hour thing to get through the whole thing.
What
But
was it on?
dude, it's on Max.
Oh,
It's called Love Is One. I'll send you guys a thing. Dude,
Sounds wild.
me and Sarah just watched it the last couple nights, and dude, it is like batshit fucking crazy.
Okay.
Real life, like, just like, whoa. Like, dude,
Interesting.
It's wild when people do.
cult stuff's always creepy. So
I love
cult
cult stuff.
Yeah, me too.
So I just wanted to say that real quick because that's worth a watch. It's pretty fucking wild.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for the news. Before we move on to tonight's movie, why don't we take a quick little break here from a word from our sponsors? We'll be right back to talk about Possessor. Talk to you soon.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park. Spooky World. Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then creep next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, we're back, And of course, as I teased before our little break, we are talking about a movie called Possessor, which is a 2020 Canadian science fiction psychological horror film written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. Brandon Cronenberg, of course, being the son of the legendary director David Cronenberg, stars Andrea Riseborough and Christopher Abbott with Rossif Sutherland, Tuppence Middleton, Sean Bean, and Jennifer Jason Leigh in supporting roles. Andrea Riseborough portrays Tasia Voss, an assassin who performs her assignments through possessing the bodies of other individuals, but finds herself fighting to control the body of her current host, Colin, played by Christopher Abbott. Was made just under $1 million at the box office, $901,000 to be exact, due to a very limited theatrical release. So it was considered a box office failure, I guess. But if you don't put the movie out in theaters, how could it be a failure if it doesn't?
When did
released
it
in
go out in
theaters?
theaters?
Well, it was
I can look it up.
Yeah, I was like, was that
Yeah.
during the middle of COVID, or was that like just
I think it was just before COVID.
January, maybe?
Yeah, I could probably find out. Let's see.
I
Release.
want to say it was like January or February.
Let's find out. Let's see. The film had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival in January of 2020, shortly after Neon acquired distribution rights to the film, with Well Go USA only handling the film's home media release. Released in the United States and Canada on October 2nd of 2020. The film was released in the UK in November of 2020 by Signature Entertainment.
So it came out during the pandemic.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I mean that explains it.
So that explains a whole hell of a lot about it, but it's obviously done very well with critics and helped to establish Brandon Cronenberg as a very interesting new name in horror. I think at least a lot of people might say it's a nepo baby thing, but watch his movies.
I think that's fucking
shredded
stupid.
that.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand why people get mad that like actors and directors' kids are making movies.
Of course, those people that are the famous directors are going to say, "Hey, kid, you want a chance at making a movie?"
And they're going to show them. It's the same thing with Marvin Harrison Jr. or any athlete that's a professional.
Right. I don't understand why.
Usually,
people
you
get
do
mad
what you're.
about it.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as like if your dad's a doctor, you might probably are going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Because you are going to. You know what I mean? Like it's just whatever your parents are. It's not
If your
nepotism,
parent,
it's
if one of
just-
your parents that's a doctor, if their insane brain function passes on to you and you can be a good doctor,
Yeah,
then
do
go
it.
be a good
Yeah.
doctor. If you're Brandon Cronenberg's son and daughter and you want to be film directors because David Cronenberg was a fantastic director and it fucking, rubbed off on you, which apparently it has, because
Oh.
his daughter's directing films now
Yeah,
too,
well,
right?
that's the thing. It's like
and he's still directing movies that his new movie at Cannes just apparently fucking killed.
Yeah,
What's
I
it called?
heard.
the Shrouds.
The Shrouds.
Yeah,
That looks
I'm
good.
looking forward to that. No, but it'd be one thing if like they just keep making movies that are dog shit.
Yeah, but when
Yeah.
you make
But if they're
this
like
Infinity
bangers,
Pool,
you're like,
two,
all right, cool.
two of the best movies in
Yeah.
the 2000s.
I think
2020s.
Antiviral is another one. that
Yeah,
he did.
I don't know if I
guess
actually
it's pretty
saw
fucked up.
that. Yeah, I gotta watch that.
Before we get into our thoughts, you can currently stream this movie on Tubi.
Yes.
Because everything's on Tubi, as we've talked about before. Obviously, this was an Andrew pick. If you watch it and you follow our show and you know Andrew's tastes, this will totally make sense. So, Andrew, I will hand the conversation over to you to talk about Possessor, my friend, because I know this was a movie that you picked and you've been raring to talk about for a long time. You recommended this, as I mentioned at the top of the show, to me and Kat.
Yeah.
Way back, right when it first came out. That I
I mean,
barely remembered watching.
This is about as Cronenberg you could ever Cronenberg for a movie.
Yeah.
It is just his dad must have been so fucking proud of
I
him.
was thinking about that too, like him watching it and being like, "Wow!" Like I can't imagine what he thought of Infinity Pool too.
Yeah,
So
it's a tough. It's on rewatch. That's tough for me to decide which one I like more. It's like 1A, 1B between
Infinity Pool, I think, is a better movie.
It's a better movie.
Yeah.
I like this movie maybe slightly more. I don't know though. It's so tough. That could be recency bias because I just
This
watched
movie's
it
much
again.
more violent.
Much more violent. I will tell you, I fucked up and I watched Possessor. I didn't watch Possessor Uncut, which is the one you have to watch.
Oh,
It is literally there's like it was for
I was
ratings.
like, wait, isn't that
It was
what
no.
we're talking about?
We're talking about,
We
but
talking
the
about
movie
the right
the movie you're talking about is Possessor Uncut. The movie that also is just called Possessor.
Yeah.
The Uncut is an hour and 44 minutes long.
Yeah.
Possessor is an hour and 43 minutes long. That's the only difference. It's 1
1
minute and it's a couple hard-ons and
Oh,
an
dude,
eye
yeah.
and an eye gouge.
So that was
an
the
eye
one.
poke.
Okay, so that was the one that I watched
Yep.
on Tubi.
Yeah, I saw
Yep.
a handful of boners.
I rented that handful of boners in the eye, the Sean Bean's eye.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not in. That's the only difference between the rating system. For this movie.
Interesting. That's
That
it,
makes
huh?
sense. There's the same
Yeah.
thing with Infinity Pool. Infinity
But
Pool's
there's
got
but
boners.
there's but there's flaccid. So you can have flaccid dick. It's just
An
not
erect-
hard.
an erect
on,
penis.
Not an erect
hard
penis.
dick's like you're getting into like hardcore porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and no one wants to see. You see a hard dick, you're like, oh, my
I mean,
dick.
I guess.
Literally nobody wants to see a hard
Nobody.
dick.
I mean, females might. I
If
mean,
the lights are off,
Probably not
Yeah.
really even that much.
yeah. I
it's,
mean, the female form
it's
is
just
clearly the superior of the two forms. I mean,
seeing your
ladies, have you
so,
seen us?
yeah, and I
Kinda
figured
gross.
this out halfway through, and I got so confused. Well, I got to I didn't remember the boners, so that was fine. It was the eye gouge thing because I was waiting for it. I
With
was
the
like,
fire poker.
yep, with the fire poker, and it never
Yeah.
happened. I was like, did
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine that scene? Because I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm watching the same fucking
Did
movie.
you watch it on Tubi?
I rented it. I didn't know it was on TV.
Oh, you fucking dunce.
I paid $3 for the lesser movie.
That's crazy.
I guess
Dude,
there's a couple more stabs in the opening death scene too with the Russian guys.
dude, rule of thumb,
Tubi?
always check Tubi first.
Yeah.
Well, it's
There's
annoying
like
because
an
it doesn't tell
85%
you.
chance it's on
It doesn't tell you if it's on. If you go to Amazon, usually it tells you any platform it's on.
Do you have a
You
smart
need, you
TV?
need Google TV.
I have an Amazon TV.
Download the
Well, they're gonna try and fucking make you buy it.
and they
dude.
did. So I got to just go to Tubi.
Just go
Okay,
to
so
Tubi,
you
yeah.
need to download the Google TV app on your phone. That will tell you anywhere that anything is streaming. Letterboxd will also tell you.
Does it
that
have
too.
commercials?
Yeah, a few.
on Tubi?
Not as
Yeah.
many.
Oh yeah.
There's
Yeah.
probably 3 commercial breaks that
Oh,
are
that's
like
not-
It
40
took me
seconds.
maybe.
Yeah.
It
So you
took
take
me.
a piss. That's actually
Yeah,
correct.
you get up and get a snack or get a beer.
Yeah,
or
there's only.
something.
I didn't know if it was
I
because
don't know if I'd
freebies.
snack
I
during
feel like
this movie.
freebies.
Well, you know what I mean. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
no, I'm
a
just
break.
busting
Yeah.
balls.
But we digress.
It took me maybe 2 hours to watch this hour and 44-minute movie with the Tubi commercial.
That's not bad.
Like,
at
not
all.
bad at all.
That's well worth it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This movie just hits on so many different levels. First off, the acting in this movie is absolutely top notch.
Yeah.
Specifically, what's his name? Colin Abbott. Is that his actual
Chris
name?
Abbott.
Chris Abbott. I
believe.
can't remember what the name of the characters that he plays.
Colin.
Colin.
Oh, it is Colin. So I was calling. I just
Christopher
combined,
Abbott,
I
yeah.
combined his two names. When Andrea Riseborough, phenomenal as well.
Yeah, she's
But I
great.
found his acting specifically really good because when he was acting, you could sense it was as if she was inside of him.
Yeah,
Acting,
he
it
was
was
like
so
just
weird.
so out of his own element.
Yeah, it was just so well done that like you literally felt like she's actually inside of him. He's acting the way she would. She's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Her character in this movie is so bizarre.
One of the
Yeah.
things that sticks out to me, and this is like such a minor thing, but it's at the beginning of the movie when she comes out of the first surrogate, and dude, like the veins and shit,
Mhm.
like sticking out in her head.
Like, are you just being dehydrated?
Well,
or
I'm like,
how does this work?
what did she do to like bring that much? Like, she's not like red in the face.
No.
Like, but like, I'm like, how did she get that much like strain on her?
I wonder if that
muscles
was
in her head.
practical effects. I
You
was
think
wondering
so?
that too because
so,
that looked
yeah.
really.
It looked
yeah,
super fucking
it looked
real.
super real.
Yeah.
Like
It's very noticeable.
another reason why this movie is a banger is the practical effects. He took
Yeah.
the page right out of his dad's playbook.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're gonna do a body horror,
So
movie.
much blood, dude.
so much blood.
Yeah.
The Sean Bean scene is probably one of my favorite scenes in like the last 5 years. It's so fucking violent and it's so good.
Is
And
that
it's so
hold on,
real.
Sean Bean is the father?
He's the father.
He's
in
Okay.
law.
Ned Stark. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I love Sean Bean. What a piece of shit in this movie.
Oh,
Holy
he's
fuck.
he's perfect. You love every thrust of
Yeah.
that fire poker into his mouth. Is
I
just
love that
brutal.
whole like scene.
The whole
like,
build-up?
The whole like I love his whole like fucking breakdown. Like they're like cause a scene. Like go
Mhm.
nuts.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm the fucking best. And like whatever he
Yeah.
fucking says. Like he's like, I'm a fucking star. Like
Yeah.
he just like
He's,
goes
like,
full
pulling
pearl.
pulling a Maxine.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking star. you
Yeah, but
fucking
he like,
piece of
dude, that
shit.
whole scene is nuts. And then he fucking, dude, we'll get into it. But like,
Yeah.
that scene's fucking insane.
That scene really, and then just the scene when he's sitting at the table with him, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of my house before I call the police."
Make me.
And he just make me. And he gets up and he's like, "I'm drunk," and he goes for the gun, and then it's just like, "Oh God,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
fuck, right?" And then she comes in and he shoots her, and
yeah, a bunch
it's
of
like
times.
it's just so well done. Like the way that her character Andrea Riseborough's character
Voss.
Voss.
I think it's Voss. Yeah.
the way that you can just tell like she gets into these people's bodies and it's almost like they take her over more than she takes them over, and she
Yeah.
becomes like very emotionally invested in their life, specifically the last.
So I have, because I have questions about this movie because I watched it a few times and I feel like you might have some answers for me because I'm like, where does how they have that thing that they fucking plug
To
into
calibrate,
their head?
yeah.
Like how do they get into the body in the first
That's a question I had too. Like, how does Colin get
do
the
they
implant in his
kidnap
head?
him?
Because they kidnapped him. Yeah, there's a scene where they kidnap him. He's in like a van outside of his house. They kidnapped him,
It
and
must
they
have
go
just
in.
been so
And they,
subtle that
yeah,
I
you
missed
miss it,
that,
and
yeah.
they're going into his head. They're putting the implant in, and then she's like, "Where have you been? How was the trip?" Because he was going away for a trip,
okay,
and he
right.
comes back. So yeah, they take him for like
Okay.
a while they do that, and then they can tap in somehow with their own implant.
I'm like, what is his fucking job?
So they're basically what he does is he goes on computers and through people's like microphone, their computers, their TV screens, they hack into it to see what people have for curtains. So because they're basically like an Amazon company that sells products and they want to see what people use. What type of curtains do they have? We want to see what people like in their house.
Okay.
So
So-
fucked.
That
Yeah.
is
so
fucked,
weird.
Yeah, it's
dude.
such a weird, and that's just his one job for that week is to see what everybody is. But then the next week it's probably like, okay, what kind of coffee tables these people have?
Yeah,
Coffee table, and just
yeah.
see people fucking like.
Yeah, no,
This is-
that's what that his like girlfriend's friend says. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you must like
Mm.
watch people like have sex all
Yeah.
the time.
So now that all makes sense to me too, because those are questions that I had.
Yeah, because it's like
Um,
a few times I've watched it. I'm like, how the fuck did this guy?
Yeah,
like,
I think if you,
how does
I
he
think
just
if you,
jump into their
I think
body?
if you blink, you miss that whole scene where
Okay,
where they
all right.
kidnap him. Basically.
Dude, but that is a like dude,
horrifying.
if you put that in a David Cronenberg movie, that would fit. Like, so Brandon Cronenberg is carrying the dad.
This movie
his dad's
gives
torch.
very almost Scanners vibes and Dead
Dead
Ringer.
Ringers. I was
Dead
going to
Ringers
say
vibes, yeah.
1,000%. Yeah.
It's so well.
doppelganger type
Mhm.
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Well, they say that nobody dies normally in a Cronenberg movie, and Brandon Cronenberg is also carrying the torch there with
Yeah.
that because the death scenes are very violent,
Well,
very
what's wild is that the
prolonged,
dad
a lot of
lived through
blood.
that scene. I
Yeah.
don't know how
is
he
that
fucking
possible?
lived.
How is that?
And he didn't even
possible?
look that bad.
No.
I was like, hey, missing
He's
half
like
your face.
lost an eye.
Yeah, I lost an eye in like your cheek, but it was hitting the back of his throat. I don't know how he didn't
Yeah,
die.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, the
It seems
effects in this
unlikely.
movie are fucking serious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like they are like, dude, even that like neck stab scene at the beginning, it's just like, dude, like
Yeah.
you can just see blood. It's like someone just fucking opened a spout.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing that I do like in horror movies is when they like go over the top with blood.
Yeah.
Not that this is not like, it's not Evil Dead 2, like where it's fucking spraying everywhere, but it's like you see the puddles of blood that they're in, and they're like that, you're dead.
Oh, yeah,
Like, if
'cause,
you
like-
lost that much blood, you were dead.
well yeah, because the
Yeah.
first kill scene when it's like the Russian, whoever it
Yeah.
was, and she's like rubbing the blood and her shoes are in it.
I love that
There's
scene.
so much.
That was I thought that was a cool scene too, where it's like her like pristine like white
shoes,
shoes
yeah.
are
Mhm.
like just like had like just this perfect like speckle of and like layer of blood on the bottom.
It's just
that was
wild. Like she never actually does it where she actually kills herself.
No, she can't.
She
Which
can't
is
do it,
interesting,
which is
yeah.
because I think she's become so much a part of these people.
Yeah.
That if there's an internal battle like what you have at the end of the movie between.
So is
Colin and
that
her,
like what it is? It's like
that's what it
she's
is.
like letting
well
it.
because they said that she's not a complete match with Colin, so they don't want her in this body for longer than a couple days, and it ends up being longer than that.
Yeah.
And he starts to come in, which is one of the creepiest parts of the movie is when he's starting to take over and he's like
He puts
going
on that,
around
like,
with like
face,
her
yeah.
face
Yes.
and going
Oh,
into her
God.
life, and I'm like, this is so fucking gross
Yeah,
and weird.
and the
Just,
part where he puts on her mask and he's walking around, that's fucking insane. That's obviously on the poster, so it's like kind of spoiled.
And
but-
it's like kind of like theoretical, like it's not
Yeah.
literally what he's doing.
no, it's not here, but
like,
it's like
yeah.
it's like you don't know at this point who's in control
right.
of
Yeah.
the body. And then just quick
It's like
shout out.
he's in control of the body that she's in, wearing her mask to pretend that she's him. It's
Yeah.
like
Quick shout
I'm
out.
the
I didn't
dude
realize
disguised as a
that
dude wearing another dude.
her husband is Donald Sutherland's son.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Talk
but he's a
about
Sutherland.
Nepo
Kiefer?
babies.
Kiefer, it's not. Yeah, it's his half brother's Kiefer.
Yeah.
Donald. I was like,
Interesting.
yeah, because
right.
his last name's Sutherland. I looked that up and I was like, huh, that is that guy.
While we're on
I didn't know
actors,
that.
before we get away from this and I lose my train of thought here, we were talking about the quality of the acting in this movie, and I think that is definitely a strength. And I think so. Andrea Riseborough, obviously great. She was all people may know her from that movie Mandy with Nick Cage that came out a couple years ago.
That's what that fucking
which a
was,
lot of
dude. I'm
people
like,
liked.
who the
She's been in a
fuck?
bunch of other stuff too. I think she was in a Black Mirror
So
episode.
I was gonna say the only thing I recognized her from was Black Mirror Crocodile.
That's right.
And
Yes.
then there was one other, it was a TV show. It was the Waco miniseries that was on Paramount.
Oh, okay.
That's the only,
Gotcha.
like, she looks very familiar, but I feel like I haven't seen a lot of the stuff she's been in.
Christopher Abbott, who plays Colin, it is going to be playing the Wolfman in Lee Whannell's Wolfman movie that's coming out at the beginning of next year.
Do like that.
Yes, that's a good casting.
Yeah.
That is
Seeing him in
Larry
this movie,
Talbot, dude.
yeah, it's Lawrence Talbot. If
Yeah.
he's going to be playing a different version of that character, but yeah, he was also in the first season of The Sinner with Jessica Biel. So he's like one of those guys that's been in a lot of stuff that you probably would recognize him from. He kind of looks like Kit Harington, who played Jon Snow in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
a little
yeah,
bit.
he does
He
actually.
does
I
look
can
a
see
little bit
that.
like Jon
Yep,
Snow,
it's
but
the
it's not the
eyes.
same actor. Also, nobody has mentioned Jennifer Jason Leigh. yet.
She's phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Her character in this movie was very similar
Ice cold.
to the doctor she played in Annihilation. I felt like.
Yeah.
Very similar, like just very ice cold.
Ice cold.
Yeah, because she was great in Hateful Eight too.
Great in Hateful Eight. She's had a very good late
Phenomenal.
career
Underrated,
resurgence.
and because
Yeah.
she was in like Single White Female and
Mhm.
what's that other '80s movie? Not Fast Times. Was it Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
She was in
one.
Fast Times, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yep,
because she's
yeah.
been around for forever.
Yeah. Fast
Dolores
Times is like her
Claiborne,
first
she
big
was
role.
good in.
Yeah.
Liked her
Yeah,
in that.
Jennifer Jason Leigh is an underrated actress. And obviously Sean Bean is fantastic. And
That's a
always-
wild
yeah,
get.
yeah, yeah.
I do like when like she comes out of the surrogate and she has to go through like a box of trinkets to basically like verify like this memory and like make sure. I just thought it was cool that they kind of are like making sure her actual mind is back to where it needs
Exactly.
to be. It's pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that scene specifically. Did anyone else notice that scene? I've noticed it on the rewatch.
What?
So in that scene, the first time, beginning of the
Spoilers,
movie-
obviously.
This spoiler,
Spoilers.
beginning of the movie, they're going through all the trinkets.
Mhm.
She gets to the butterfly mounted in the glass.
Oh, and the
She
second
goes,
time she doesn't
say,
Doesn't
I
feel any
regret
guilt.
it. No
Yeah,
guilt
yeah,
for
no
it.
guilt
She's
at all.
lost all of that. I thought that was very subtle and very just like,
yeah.
oh, because obviously she's just, her whole family's dead now. And like,
Did
Well,
you,
that's the thing is that Jennifer Jason Leigh goes in as her fucking
son,
kid.
because she's like,
Yeah.
this is the only way I can get to her.
Yeah.
And she shoots
She
her
gets
kid.
fucking popped.
It's like
dude.
it's like
Yeah.
very Shakespearean, that whole
Very much
ending
so.
of that movie.
Did you also notice that the pools of blood that form around the first guy that gets killed and also when the husband is killed is in the form of a butterfly?
Oh,
That's
I
a
didn't
thing.
know
Don't they like touch?
That was intentional. Yeah, that was a thing that was intentional by Cronenberg. So
So that all ties in then
Mm,
together.
And now she doesn't feel guilty.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so
Layers, like
there's definitely a lot
Like
to
an
un-
onion.
lot to
Like an
unpack
onion.
here. An onion. The more we peel
I
back,
do
the more
really
layers
fucking like this
there
movie.
are.
It's very
Yeah.
cool.
I'm actually so I told Andrew today at work earlier that I thought that I was very much more on the side of Infinity Pool, and now I'm not so sure. I think these are kind of like you said, Andrew, maybe
So-
a 1A, 1B situation.
I saw Infinity Pool in theaters,
That's a
and
different
I
experience.
think
yeah.
that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I do. They're so fucking close in terms of like, well, not story or anything, but like just how well they're both made.
Yeah.
And just how, but they're very different movies. Like one is like a full blown, like I would say like a futuristic dystopian sci-fi kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Infinity Pool is just a bleak, like despair
yeah.
situation. Like
so real interesting that I just found out about this movie. I don't know how accurate it is. Possessor takes place in an alternate 2008.
Correct.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
did not know that.
When I was researching the
In
movie, yeah,
Canada?
2008.
I'm assuming they're in Canada.
I saw a couple of
No,
things. I
yeah.
saw they were in Toronto.
Yeah.
I
Well, that
think,
makes
yeah,
sense. He's Canadian.
He's Canadian. Yeah.
But like Infinity Pool is like each one has to do with like having a surrogate.
Yeah,
Like
which
you
is
have
very
like
cool,
a
yeah.
separate body that's taking the blame for
Mhm.
whatever you're doing. So,
So, question
I wonder if
for
we'll do
you:
a
I wonder if they're in the
Third
same
movie.
universe.
They might be.
I mean,
would you be surprised?
directors do like
Yeah,
these
they do
things where
that.
they do trilogies of the same theme.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
And
if
you don't
we'll
even
do
realize that they don't come out and say it because that's
Until
lame
later,
and no one
yeah.
wants to say that. But then you watch it, it's like same thing with When Evil Lurks and
Oh, Terrified.
Terrified.
Yeah.
That's gotta be.
So who did he get better performances out of? Andrea Riseborough and Christopher Abbott in Possessor, or Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth in Infinity
Mia
Pool?
Goth is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
She's so
Skarsgård is
terrifying in
really
Infinity
good,
Pool.
but I would say that Abbott's better than Skarsgård.
Okay.
I agree, but I think Mia Goth is the
Mia Goth,
best out of all of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
she's like
She's operating
She
on a
plays
different
on
level.
two different spectrums
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
She plays like this like
psycho.
kind of like quirky and like pretty girl thing, and then she goes full fucking maniac mode.
Dude,
too.
she's a nut.
Well,
She's
the-
a
yeah.
fucking
The difference is
crazy-
she
Yeah, she's
owns
insane.
that movie.
Oh yeah.
Riseborough
No
is
eyebrows.
Riseborough's probably in like half of the movie. In reality,
Yeah.
if you
She's
really
really
think about
not
it.
in it that
She's
much.
not in it that
No,
much because
she's hidden.
this is why I
underneath all
think
these
that
other characters.
Abbott is the most important part of the movie because he does such a
100%.
good job
He's the main
playing her
character
in
of the
him.
movie.
Yeah, 100%. Both movies though have phenomenal acting, great sci-fi. Like this guy really knows his chops are sci-fi. I want to watch Antiviral now. I heard it's not that great, but I feel like
I have too. A lot of people kind of wrote it off, but a lot of people also say it's good.
Well, it's wild. So
I
that
have no
was
idea what it's about.
2012, and he didn't come
Yeah.
out with anything till 2020, which is weird.
I think he did some like shorts and like he might have done some like episodes of television.
And
I could be wrong,
yeah,
but I think he had
a,
some sort of like smaller things in between.
I saw like a little piece of an interview he was doing about this movie, and he said that he started writing it because he would be waking up every day and he didn't feel like he was living his life. He didn't feel like he belonged in the life that he was in. So he came up with the story for this.
Dude, it's so
Very interesting
fascinating.
how
Like,
they-
what is with like this family where they're able to
Yeah.
channel like their like issues that they're having? Like, I mean,
That's a lot of artists do that.
it is.
but-
But like, dude, the way that the Cronenberg
The way they do it. Well, that's like the Shrouds. That's a direct.
or like the Brood.
The Brood. The Shrouds is a directly related because his wife died, and this is
Yeah.
about him coping with that loss.
That's sad. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Vincent Cassel is essentially him, basically.
But like the Brood is like about a like awful divorce.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and this is about him just being like, I just didn't feel like I was in
Dude,
my
talk
own body.
about
It's like,
talk about taking
you
your
just
worst
take these,
moments of
like-
your life and make it into a masterpiece.
but you're still taking things that happen to like a large majority of people, if not everybody, between life and death, and you know what I mean?
Which
Like,
is what makes it so relatable.
but and just turning them into these incredibly abstract ideas.
Yeah.
And like that's what I think is so fascinating about the Cronenbergs is that they're able to grab onto something like a divorce and you turn it into the divorce being so bad that a wife is literally manifesting her anger into these little fucking like
Yeah.
monster kids. Or you have Brandon Cronenberg saying like, I felt like I wasn't in my own body, this, that, and the other thing. And he's turned that into someone that is it's an assassin that is going in through a fucking brain stem and
Yeah.
as a surrogate to assassinate people with no questions asked, no fucking trace. You just ruined this whole person's life as if they're just a
to make
shell.
money, just to make
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
As they're just a shell.
Yeah.
Like, and then that person's dead.
They're
Yeah.
insanely creative people. The
It's
Cronenbergs.
unbelievable.
It really
dude.
is.
And what I find even more insane about it is that they're able to take these movies that you watch, and on the surface, you have a movie about a high-profile assassin for a company that makes millions of dollars, ruining people's lives, doing all this, and you feel an emotional attachment to almost every character in the entire
Yeah.
movie. It's like, how does that work? That doesn't make. Why do I care about this?
There's not a single. I don't think I've ever watched I mean, outside of The Fly, of Jeff Goldblum, like there's not a single Cronenberg movie where I think anyone says anything remotely fucking funny.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
they are dead fucking serious the whole
Yeah.
entire
No,
time.
I agree. Oh, another actress in this movie, by the way. If you guys are Letterkenny people, Colin's mistress in the movie,
Yep.
his fiance's friend, is one of Wayne's girlfriends.
Oh, the ones
in
he's hooking
Letterkenny.
up with?
Yes. Yes. Very much so.
I haven't watched that show in a long time, so
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Tanis. She's Tanis in Letterkenny.
Okay.
So if you watch
Again, Canadian
Letterkenny,
shows, so
yeah,
that makes
Canadian
perfect
show,
sense.
Canadian actress, that's for sure. I found this interesting when I was researching this movie. So he talked about like some of Brandon Cronenberg's real life inspirations for this movie. He was inspired also, Matt, you'll find this particularly interesting, the works of Dario Argento when he was making this movie, particularly Opera from 1987.
Okay.
Also said he was inspired to make Possessor by two pieces of media. The first, a book called Physical Control of the Mind Toward a Psycho-Civilized Society, which demonstrates how movements can be induced by radio command, hostility may appear or disappear, social hierarchy can be modified, sexual behavior may be changed, and memory, emotions, and the thinking process may be influenced by remote control. That makes a whole hell of a lot of sense.
Wow.
Second was a short film that he made called Please Speak Continuously and Describe Your Experiences They Come to You. That's a movie that he made before this movie. So thought that was interesting. I feel like you can definitely see the giallo influence in this movie. And the kills a little bit.
A little bit,
And
yeah.
the colors.
The knives and the poker and everything. Yeah.
Shot beautifully. Like,
Yeah.
it definitely looks
Very bloody.
very
Gorgeous
cinematic.
movie.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Simply gorgeous.
And this is one of those movies that I think transcends genre of movie.
Mhm.
It's so many. It's
a lot,
It's a horror.
yeah.
It's a drama. It's a sci-fi. It's not a comedy. Definitely not a comedy.
Definitely
So
not
we don't have to worry
comedy.
about
Certainly
that.
not.
A little bit of a romance, kind of.
A little
Like
bit.
between her and her being pulled from her family. It's like the wrong side of romance.
It's that part.
Yeah.
That part definitely adds like a sad element to it
Yeah.
because he's like, I want you to like move back in. Like I want. you
and
to be
she's
here.
being manipulated by the other side of it, and she also can't just let that side go because she loves not being herself. I feel like. So it's very
Yeah,
sad
there's a
that
lot
she has
to it.
such a great life. There's so many, like I said, it's like an onion. There's so many layers. It's
Very
just one of
many
those movies.
layers.
It's one of those movies that I think every time you watch it, you're gonna find something different that you can notice.
Let's peel back some more layers. Here's one for you, Andrew. So, Holly, the first character that Voss takes over when she kills the first guy at the
Mhm.
party. In the original script, Cronenberg did not write the character of Holly as belonging to any specific race. Gabrielle Graham, who played Holly in the movie, her audition for the role impressed him greatly, which led him to cast her right away. In an interview with Sci-Fi, when the movie came out, he elaborated and said she really just nailed the subtle nuance and emotional aspects of that sequence. So I cast her for that reason. Obviously, that character is black. You can read that scene as saying the corporation has other layers to their actions in scapegoating her, and especially in the current context, that becomes more relevant.
That's interesting.
I read that quote and I was like, you know what? That is a very interesting way to look at that because obviously the character is black.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a
What
weird- yeah.
what are they escorts? Are they dancers? Are they ambassadors? Like who are they?
I think they were supposed to be like waitresses.
Yeah, I
or
think they're like-
servers.
Why were
yeah,
they
they're
dressed
like-
up
they're
like
like-
fucking?
They're like supposed to be like delivering like hors d'oeuvres and
Oh,
shit.
but yeah, because she was wearing the clothes she was wearing
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah.
For a waitress, I guess that's just.
That looked like,
Like they're like if you're at like a
I thought she was gonna start doing.
say you're at a
like,
wedding cocktail hour.
Yeah.
Like they're delivering like
Yeah.
hors d'oeuvres
Yeah.
and shit.
I read that
she
as
had
like
just got there. She hadn't changed, obviously.
Yeah.
She's not in uniform. She's wearing her fucking.
I have no
jumpsuit.
idea.
I mean, yeah, it didn't matter.
No,
She
yeah,
had a
she
job to
did-
do.
Yeah, she.
Yeah.
I
it's
read
just
that
like,
scene
Oh, here we go.
as a cocktail waitress murdering like Harvey Weinstein. That's
Oh,
what I
kind
looked
of.
at it.
Yeah,
I can
I
see that.
agree.
Like,
Yeah, some
kind
sort of like
Some
fat cat,
fat
dick
fucking
head.
slut.
Yeah.
Also, let's talk about the Andrea Riseborough having breasts and an erect penis at the same time scene. That was also taken out of the movie, but put back in by Andrea Riseborough.
Like I said, that was
Yeah.
that was not in
Nope.
the uncut version.
So basically, Cronenberg said he originally wrote the scene in which Voss has sex with the intention of showing Voss as having a penis, but he subsequently edited the script knowing that some actors would not feel comfortable with it. Upon casting Riseborough, the two had a conversation during which she suggested the idea of Voss having male genitalia, delighted Cronenberg and made him feel like she was reading his mind. The scene was rewritten back to its original form and is what is seen on film in the unrated version, or that version that we're talking about,
Yeah.
Andrew.
She did. Make sure you watch that one. It's a big
Now-
difference.
Now, some may say in this political climate that it's weird and whatever, but it's two characters of different genders being blended together, so it would make sense in that context.
I think it makes sense.
It
Yeah,
didn't.
I don't
I didn't
think
give
I-
it a second
especially where
thought.
they're
No.
so.
I think it helped accentuate like the weirdness of the scene.
That
to be
they're
honest.
torn. It's a
Here's the
bad-
way I think of it because
Also, it's like nice dick.
yeah, tight dick play. Here's the way I think of it is where she's battling internally with control over this body, and what you're seeing up top is the mind and brain, but with the male mind obviously goes
the
to a different
penis.
place, and that's why you have the penis on the bottom half, where it's you have him still having sex with his own wife, but she's on top just kind of visually experiencing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like it's just I think that's kind of where it is like that's where it starts.
Yeah.
I think if she didn't have sex with her in that body, the control doesn't get passed over.
Yeah,
I think she maintains
the penis mightier.
The penis
mightier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Who
like
would've known?
you're watching it as a male viewer, the male gaze, as they say. Breasts on the wife, nude, and then you see Andrea Riseborough nude, and then it scrolls down, and then it's a penis. That's a little bit. I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's an interesting. It fits the movie. I don't know why they would. I don't know why. I still don't understand why the rating systems in this country are so stupid. It makes no sense. That's what's people are gonna watch this movie and go, that offended me. Not the gratuitous violence and all the other fucked up shit.
Right.
That I can't watch, or the eyeball being
the erect
that,
ding dog.
You know, the movie
quality,
was. I was cool with the movie until you did that. Oh, okay,
like,
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Like, what are we doing here?
You guys want to hear about some other horror movies that came out in the year of our Lord 2020?
Underwater
came out in 2020 for sure. That was one of the few movies that we covered. Actually, we covered a good amount from 2020. That was right.
We had nothing else to do.
So we started this podcast in December of 2019, and 2020 was our first full year.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried to cover as much.
We survived the pandemic.
We did survive the pandemic. Anyway, one movie that we did cover on this podcast that we saw in theaters was A Quiet Place Part 2, which I think upon further realization is not that great. Cillian Murphy, I love. And A Quiet Place, I'm kind of all set with. We also got Antebellum, which came out in 2020. Anybody seen that?
No, I don't think I
did.
watched that. Was it good?
Yeah. It was interesting, but it was
it's like one of the movie that's like you die if you watch it. Is it that one?
No, it was trying to get
was,
out a little bit.
It was like there was some sort of like glitch where like this girl goes back into like slavery times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember.
But it's like still like modern people dealing with how it was interesting.
Worth watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I didn't even think of that movie.
I think it's up for interpretation. It's kind of one of those movies that's like,
which are always good.
Yeah.
How about Becky, which was a slasher that starred Kevin James as the main villain? Anybody see that?
No,
I didn't either.
I have to watch that though. So this is a side story. I was at a buddy's house. This is years ago, and we were really stoned, and we were watching this movie where Kevin James plays an author who is writing a book about being a like Russian spy or something. And Russian mafia thinks he's actually the guy that is like in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's only fiction, but they think it's an autobiography. And I couldn't help but think that, because I was really stoned, that it was Doug Heffernan from King of Queens, and he'd like divorced Carrie, and like he's just really got himself into some shit. So now every time I watch anything with Kevin James in it, I just assume that it's Doug Heffernan with a new job. Like Paul Blart,
awesome.
like, so I have to watch this because if it's him as a serial killer, this is like the ultimate pinnacle of like where he ends up.
check it out and report back to us. Let us know if it's any good.
It's called Becky.
Yeah, it's called Becky. Andrew, we got Hulu.
So with Paul Blart Mall Club, is that
Paul Blart
Mall Club? Does that have any? Is that in this universe?
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. It was like it's just a new job where he's just like, fuck, all right, well, I got out of that Russian mafia.
Well, what else then? What else has he been in?
And then he's in like
all those Adam Sandler movies.
Grown Ups 5, and he's doing a different accent. You know,
he's a single dad or something.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew, Books of Blood from Clive Barker on Hulu came out in 2020. Yeah, mid,
very mid.
We also got Brahms, The Boy 2. I've heard a lot of people say good things about The Boy. Never seen it. I can't say, but I've never seen Brahms, The Boy 2. And of fucking course.
Don't look at me like that.
I was like, wait, what? I didn't know that was Daddy.
Fucking of course. Every time we do a podcast, every year we cover a movie, there's a fucking Children of the Corn movie. And in 2020, there was a fucking Children of the Corn reboot for the third time.
Dude, I don't know.
You know what's funny? I watched like last week. I watched Children of the Corn 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just because a bunch of them are on Max.
Yep.
And I saw an Instagram video of like the third one.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of ridiculous. I was like, all right, maybe I should like check these out. And I watched the second one, and it was like, all right, like I can get it's fine. Like it's cheese, but it's like it's
ultimate cheese.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage, we got Color Out of Space in 2020, which
I didn't like this movie.
I dug it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
I thought it was good. It was
bored the shit out of me.
Dug it. A 2020 movie we covered on this podcast, and another Andrew pick, Come True.
I love that movie. Oh yeah,
yeah. Matt didn't like it. It's okay.
Very actually kind of in line with. I mean, no, not really.
This would also be a good double feature with Possessor.
Yeah,
very much so. A little sleep paralysis, sci-fi horror. We also got Deep Blue Sea 3. Didn't know that existed
Banger.
in 2020. Yeah, banger for sure.
Can't believe I missed that.
Banger for real. A movie you both need to watch. The Empty Man. Terrible title, very good, culty, fucking really good horror.
I would
movie.
never have thought to watch that movie. Thank
The
you.
Empty Man. Find it, watch it. Very, very
We need
good.
to just have a big board where we just put
Thank
what
me
you need to
later.
watch, and then you check it off after you watch it. That way,
Yeah.
there's shame if you don't watch it.
It's good.
Because
idea.
I would put
Fair
like
enough.
4
like
to
a,
2.
like a
Fortitude,
sunshine,
yes,
cloudy,
yes, yes.
sunshine, cloudy, rain cloud
Yeah.
sticker system.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
I think that'd be kind of cool. We can just shame each other.
Guys, remember in 2020 when Blumhouse thought it would be a good idea to take the TV series Fantasy Island from the 60s and turn it into a horror movie? They did
No.
that. That happened in
I
2020.
don't remember that.
Didn't see it.
Blumhouse?
Let's
I drank a lot in
see.
2020.
Yeah, same. Also, Freaky, the slasher with Vince
Oh,
Vaughn.
I still never saw that.
It
That
was
probably
okay. It
terrible.
was fine.
I liked that. I
Was
thought
it good?
That was
It was
cool.
fine. I like Vince Vaughn. So, Ghosts of War, which is a Netflix movie. This is a supernatural World War II movie that came out. It's been in my Netflix queue for about
Cat
2
didn't
years.
watch that?
No, it's this one that I've been meaning to watch. Gretel and Hansel also came out in 2020. Nope.
Who did that movie?
I think that might have been Oz Perkins.
It was Oz Perkins. That's
Yeah.
right. I was just like, I
So,
know that.
I actually kind of want to give that a chance because
Ross Perkins is cool.
we're beating
Yeah.
off to long legs right now, and obviously
beating off to most things, so.
Blackcoat's daughter is great. So I mean, I kind of want to give that a shot.
I've heard it's good.
Andrew, Grizzly 2 Revenge was re-released in
Phenomenal.
2020. One of your favorites. We also got the only excellent Zoom horror movie ever made called Host, which is a Shudder exclusive. Very good, very scary, very fun. A movie I love on Netflix starring Kevin James and Adam Sandler. Hubie Halloween came out in 2020. Don't at me. Love that movie. We also got Psycho Gorman. Anyone seen this? This is from the
Yeah.
guy that directed The Void.
I wasn't
It's
really
good.
into it.
Yeah,
I didn't see it. I always thought that movie, for some reason, when I see like the title screen of that, I feel like it's like from like 1992.
so it's about a couple of
It
kids.
kind of is
Yeah.
like made to be like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's about a couple of kids that get an alien invader friend that is a like warlord from
Yeah,
another
just like
planet.
an absolute destructive monster.
Yeah, he looks like he belongs in like a castle.
It seems like it's a lost episode of like the Power Rangers series in the 90s.
Or like
yeah,
Beetleborgs
yeah,
or something.
something
Yeah.
like that. So that's Psycho Gorman. We also got Relic that came out in 2020. Anyone seen
This
that?
is a bummer.
Yeah.
This looked like it was going to be. This is like the one with like the 3 generations of the women with the grandmother and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
that's the one.
This movie was not.
Dog shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Scare Me? That's a Shudder exclusive. Anyone? Bueller?
So it's
Nope.
just a generic name for a movie. I
Okay.
think.
Scare Package, a horror anthology.
This one. All right. So
That's what people call me.
I talked about this on the show before. And I was like, I get what he's doing, but it was like too campy
Hmm.
to take seriously enough to like watch the whole fucking thing.
Okay, fair. 2 movies back to back that I've seen both of and actually really liked: Sea Fever and Sputnik. Good monster
Sputnik
movies.
Hulu movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, we-
Sputnik was dope.
Yeah, that was really good. I like
Yep.
that movie.
Very much like Alien, but
Yeah.
Russian. Good stuff. I like that
Takes
a lot.
place on Sputnik.
We also got The Babysitter, Killer Queen. That's a Netflix movie starring the kid from Suitable Flesh. Pass. We also got The Beach House in 2020, which is another Lovecraftian sea monster movie horror movie. Excuse me, if I can only speak.
Sea Monster horror movie. Sea Monster movie.
Quite possibly the worst decision that we've made as a podcast before Matt came in was covering the Grudge remake that came out in 2020, which we paid money to go see in theaters. Do you
Well, we
remember-
can
do you
thank
remember
Cat.
that?
We can thank
I didn't
Cat
see
for
it.
Yeah,
that.
that was Cat. It was
It's a Cat
absolutely
live
We
only.
can't, but that's
brutal.
what makes us great is we get
The only thing I could say, claim to fame.
Ju-on the Grudge is the only
Yes.
grudge in my opinion,
Yes.
brother.
Why
The
do I
only good
not
thing that
remember
came
seeing
out of
that
that
movie?
episode is Lynn Shay was in it, and Lynn Shay shared our episode.
Oh,
First
that's
came
right.
out.
Is that the one where she was like eating her fingers off?
Yes,
The yeah, now I
yes,
remember that,
that was
awful
that one.
movie.
Yes.
I forgot I even saw that.
I feel like
movie.
they tried to make that into like the Evil Dead Fede Alvarez remake, and it just did not work.
I guess it goes to show how true PTSD is because like I'll
Yep.
see these movies and I'll just erase them from my
Mhm.
memory, and then they'll pop up at like a later date, and I'll be like, "Oh, that movie was terrible. Why did I watch that? Awful."
Also in 2020 was a movie called The Hunt. That was the movie that Donald Trump
That
got
movie
mad
was
at
wild.
with
Yeah.
Betty Gilpin and her
I did
large
see that.
breasts. She's awesome.
Oh, I was
Her.
thinking of the Hunt with Mads Mikkelsen.
different.
That's
movie.
a good movie.
Different movie.
Different type of movie.
Yeah, this movie was kind of all over the place.
I don't think
Did
I
you
saw
see
this
it?
movie. I don't think I saw
That's the one about where it's like the
It like
the rich
ping-pongs
people
back and
hunting
forth
poor
between
people.
who's actually
Yes.
hunting who. Yeah.
But then it turns out that the people that are
The
hunting,
hunter
the
has
people that are the
become the
hunters are
hunters.
actually Democrats, and everyone's like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
how dare you do
Well,
that?"
'cause that's
Oh
surprising.
my
They would never
God.
do that.
They would never.
People
My-
with money would never do that.
seriously, guys, my vote for the best movie of 2020 for horror, excuse me, is The Invisible Man, the Lee Whannell movie.
Fair.
Love that fucking movie. I think I drafted it in our remake draft, which we did a couple weeks ago.
Because we didn't do
Love
our
that
we
one.
didn't do our 2020. We never did a top 10 of 2020.
We didn't.
not a
We were
good
still. We were.
fucking
We were still
poll
too
to pick
young.
from.
No,
Still
it
too
isn't.
young at
Yeah,
that
we
point.
never did that.
Yep.
I just realized that.
We also got The Lodge, which was that horror movie that starred Alicia Silverstone.
You know, I wanted
saw
to see that, and then I never saw it because you told me it was
It was
terrible.
I hated
It
it.
was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My buddy
Fine.
told me to watch it, and I was
Yeah.
like, "This movie sucks."
We also got
It's wicked boring. Yeah.
another horror anthology in 2020, The Mortuary Collection. I believe that is currently streaming on Shudder.
I've never seen that.
Neither have I. I'd like to check it out.
Save it for Janthology.
I'm a horror anthology completionist.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to
Check
do that again.
I don't
Are we
think so.
almost out of?
We got 4 more movies.
Maybe, yeah. There's always more coming out.
that out. We got The
Dog
Night
shit,
House
though.
in 2020.
I like that.
Mhm.
Rebecca Hall.
Yep, Rebecca Hall is pretty awesome. I included this because it was a TV show that we covered on this podcast in 2020. It also came out in 2020. Obviously, was The Outsider, based on the Stephen King story. Fucking great.
That
Really
show
good. Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah, very
Really
very
good.
Awesome.
Jason Bateman, Ben Mendelsohn, a bunch of other people.
Ben Mendelsohn's phenomenal.
stuff.
I want to
Part
put
of,
like a
you know what? It
statue-
was funny
I
when
want a
I was
statue for
listening
Ben
to The
Mendelsohn.
Troop.
Mm.
Part of that reminded me of the show.
I can certainly see that. 2020, we also got The Rental, which is starring, I believe,
Allen
Allison Brie, Jeremy Allen White from The Bear,
Yeah.
who really looks like Gene Wilder a lot now that people have been saying it, and I can't unsee it now. He looks like Gene Wilder so much. And Dan Stevens, I think, somebody really handsome. Anyway, we also got The Turning, which is an adaptation of The Turning of the Screw. Cool. The Wolf of Snow Hollow was a movie I really liked from 2020. Very good stuff. Check it out. It's a werewolf movie. And I would say, actually, up between The Invisible Man and this was Underwater from 2020. That
I really like that
fucking
movie.
rocked. And we saw that. That was
That was the first movie we saw
Is
in
that the alligator
podcast.
movie?
first and last
No, that's
movie
the,
we've ever seen at the Wareham movie theater.
That was
Crawl.
Crawl.
Yeah.
This was the one with Kristen Stewart. It
Oh,
was like
she's
the
in
love-
both of them,
The
right?
Lovecraftian one. No,
It was
she's
an
not in
Alien
Crawl.
ripoff where basically, I mean, it's 4 years old at this point. There's underwater monsters. They're doing a riff on Alien underwater instead of in space.
Yeah, she's like Ripley essentially.
And there's all these little monsters attacking the underwater station the entire time. And at the end of the movie, fucking Cthulhu pops up, is the giant end boss.
As
It
you
was
can see, Michael's
fucking
very
awesome.
excited about that.
I fucking jizzed everywhere in the theater at the end. It was so dope. By the way, top grossing horror
I
movie of
lapped it
2020. Yeah,
Nope.
you.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot that you did that. Top grossing horror movie of 2020, by the way, again, pandemic stats, was
Saltburn.
The Invisible Man with 64 million. Yeah, pandemic numbers though. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back in business
yeah,
now.
back in business. 2020 is one of those years I will always remember because I remember all these movies
I watched a lot
during
of
COVID.
movies.
I
that
did
year.
too. It was COVID stuff. It was tough, but we made it through, and that's hopefully all behind us. Guys, anything further on 2020, on Possessor, on the Cronenbergs, on jizzing in movie theaters, on drinking
it.
beers?
Slurping it
Yeah,
up.
that.
I didn't drink it. I slurped it.
Anything else?
No, this is a fucking awesome pick, dude. I loved it. I was so
Yeah.
happy. When
Cheers to
picked
you,
this,
Andrew.
so.
Good.
Yeah,
We'll
I fucking
clank
love
on
that
this.
movie.
Yeah, we don't have to.
That was a
click
movie
on
that when
it.
I picked it, I was like, "This is horror enough." And then you watch and you go, "Yeah, this
Yes.
is definitely
Yes,
horror."
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
This is
For our show, we've covered enough stuff that's adjacent enough.
I think as long
Yeah.
as it's something that makes you feel
Unsettled?
unsettled.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, that means that we are about all set with Possessor. And whose pick is it for next week? It's Matthew's. Do you have a pick? You do. I can see the devilish grin on your
I
face.
can only
You-
imagine what this
you
is.
sly
The
fox.
year
you.
of the cat returns. He
Oh
just picks the
my
fucking
goodness.
just. Oh, you want to
Let's
get your
see.
fucking.
I'm
life
waiting
ruined?
with bated breath right now. and I'm about at half-mast hearing it. Let's go.
Let's do Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
yeah.
Oh!
It's got real grimy with it.
Good old
I like
Michael Rooker movie. Let's do it. All right, Henry
Perfect.
Portrait of a Serial Killer coming next week. That should be a feel-good barrel of laughter. The whole fucking family, son.
That might be one of the most like bombing fucking movies of all time.
Yeah, but for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I feel like we have our best conversations about the absolute biggest bummer movies. We're just like, oh, because it hits us all.
good
There's
to
certain
feel
parts.
something.
There's certain parts of each movie that hit us all a little differently, and we all just like remember that part. And like, and it was like,
Guarantee
oh my God.
you that movie's on Tubi right now.
Oh,
It's
Guarantee.
on a handful of things. It's also on,
Probably on Shudder.
It's on Peacock. Too.
It's on Peacock.
Cock.
I only know that because I scrolled through every like couple weeks. I like just kind of scroll through
Check
everything
what's
and just see
playing.
what's up.
Yeah, of course.
So.
All right. Cool. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Hope you guys had fun with us. We certainly had fun talking about Possessor with you. Thank you, Andrew, for the stellar pick. As always, come back and join us next week while we talk about Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Oh, my goodness.
I do love that movie.
My name is Mike. I've been joined by our co-hosts, or my co-hosts, excuse me, Matthew and Andrew. Gentlemen, say good evening to everybody who's been gracious enough to bless us with a listen.
Good night.
Peace
Adios.
and good night. Good evening. Bye. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, the Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.